Yeah, man. We talk like, man, this shit just come out of nowhere. Like, we were moving around in LA, man, selling some TV shows and shit. We were around each other, man, you know what I mean? I said, shit, what you think about this? Like, shit, you wanna do that shit? I said, yeah. He was like, alright, cool. So shit. And I told him, I said, well, I'm gonna jump out there first, and then you just gonna jump out there and we'll line it up. And he said, alright. And when I jump out there, he act like he ain't know what.
Y'all, in hip-hop, feuds usually explode over diss tracks, chart dominance, or who really runs the streets. But every once in a while, a conflict surfaces that cuts deeper than music, deeper than ego, straight into bloodlines. And right now, a storm is forming around one of Atlanta's most recognizable families. Because when the internet's most ruthless troll decides to poke at the legacy of the so-called King of the South, things stop being entertainment and start feeling like a public unraveling. For years, fans have watched the tension between T.I. and his son King Harris play out like a reality show no one could turn away from. Heated live streams, awkward interviews, moments where father and son looked less like family and more like rivals forced to share the same spotlight. People laughed it off as generational rebellion, a young man trying to escape the shadow of a legendary father. But now, a rumor has detonated that threatens to change the entire narrative. According to whispers spreading across industry circles, 50 Cent has begun hinting at something far more explosive than family drama. Allegedly, there are DNA records floating around, documents that could suggest King Harris might not actually be T.I.'s biological son. And if that claim alone wasn't enough to send shockwaves through hip-hop, it didn't stop there. Behind the scenes, 50 Cent is reportedly digging into Atlanta history itself, teasing secrets tied to Tiny Harris, old relationships from the Xscape era, and a timeline that doesn't quite add up. If even a fraction of what's being whispered turns out to be real, the consequences could shatter the image of one of rap's most famous power couples. So the question hanging over everything tonight is simple. Is this just another calculated mind game from hip-hop's most strategic instigator? Or has 50 Cent uncovered a secret that could rewrite the Harris family story forever?
Tell me down there at the Fat Burger fighting over Tiny. Now that's T.I., man. You gonna cause these niggas to buy more guns?
For years, the tension between 50 Cent and T.I. has quietly simmered beneath the surface of hip-hop culture. What began as competitive shots about chart dominance back in the 2000s slowly mutated into something far more personal. But even longtime fans of rap beef never imagined the conflict would reach this level, because now the battlefield has moved beyond music, beyond money, and straight into family territory. And according to the whispers echoing across social media, 50 Cent may have crossed the one line most artists refuse to touch. Instead of aiming at T.I.'s career, he's aiming at his bloodline. And the target is King Harris. In a move that shocked even people used to 50 Cent's ruthless trolling, the focus of this feud has shifted from studios and stages to the very heart of the Harris household. The accusation doesn't come out of nowhere either. For years, the public has watched the complicated relationship between T.I. and his son unfold in real time. What once looked like a normal father-son dynamic slowly turned into something far more volatile. King Harris, once seen as the quiet kid appearing beside his parents on reality television, transformed almost overnight into a rebellious figure constantly clashing with his father. Viral livestream arguments, heated confrontations in public, moments where respect seemed to disappear entirely. King repeatedly claimed he grew up in the trenches, a statement that baffled critics who pointed out he was raised inside a multi-million-dollar mansion. And then there were the incidents that truly stunned fans. One of the most talked about moments came during an NFL game when tensions between father and son reportedly escalated into a physical altercation. Cameras caught the chaos. The clips spread online within minutes. And suddenly, the Harris family's private tension became global entertainment. That's when 50 Cent allegedly saw an opportunity. Because where most people saw family drama, he saw a storyline. According to rumors circulating through what insiders call 50 Cent's digital orbit, the rap mogul began quietly hinting at something much darker behind the conflict. His claim was brutal in its simplicity. The reason King doesn't act like a Harris might be because he isn't one biologically. Reports started spreading that an alleged DNA document exists suggesting T.I. may not actually be King Harris's biological father. Now in celebrity culture, rumors are cheap. Anyone can throw out accusations online and watch them spread. But 50 Cent carries a reputation that makes people pause before dismissing him. This is the same man who once exposed rival Rick Ross's past as a correctional officer, dropping receipts that embarrassed one of rap's biggest stars. So when 50 Cent starts hinting at hidden paperwork, the internet listens. And the implication behind his message is devastating. Because he isn't simply mocking King's rebellious attitude. He's suggesting something far more humiliating, that the self-proclaimed King of the South may have unknowingly raised another man's child for nearly 20 years. If true, the damage wouldn't just be emotional. It would strike directly at T.I.'s identity as a father, a husband, and the patriarch of the Grand Hustle empire he built from the ground up. Reputation means everything in hip-hop, and allegations like this don't just bruise egos, they rewrite legacies. But the question many people keep asking is simple. Why King? Why not target any of the other Harris children? According to the narrative being pushed from 50 Cent's camp, the answer lies in timing. King Harris was born during a particularly chaotic period in T.I. and Tiny's relationship. In the early 2000s, their marriage was reportedly going through serious turbulence. At the same time, T.I. was constantly battling legal trouble, facing federal investigations and the looming threat of prison. While the rapper was distracted fighting courtrooms and headlines, 50 Cent is now hinting that Tiny Harris may have been navigating her own complicated world behind the scenes. And that's where the story starts getting darker. According to these rumors, Tiny's past connections inside Atlanta's underground social scene may hold the key to a secret the public was never supposed to question. Powerful figures. Old relationships from the Xscape era. People who operated in the shadows of the music industry long before social media exposed everything.
Yeah, like he didn't know what's going on. Then that's what it was about. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's about, oh, you playing? Oh, okay, you gonna play. Alright, cool. But how about, I don't even want to, man. Cause now I quit.
50 Cent hasn't presented a full explanation yet, but he has been relentless in how he teases the narrative. Instead of simply posting accusations, he's been circulating old video clips of King Harris arguing with T.I., highlighting the moments where the tension feels almost unexplainable. The captions beneath those clips are what truly caught people's attention. Short, cryptic, calculated. Messages like, that other DNA kicking in. He don't recognize the king, because he ain't from the king. That single line, quietly dropped in one of 50 Cent's cryptic captions, sent the internet spiraling into chaos. It wasn't just a jab. It was a calculated psychological move designed to force a reaction. In hip-hop, silence can be more dangerous than words. If T.I. says nothing, people assume the rumors hit too close to home. If he explodes publicly, it proves exactly what 50 Cent wants, that he's successfully gotten inside his head. It's a brutal chess move. And in this game, the pawn is a son, while the real target is the father. The conversation becomes even darker when people start looking closely at King Harris himself. Over the past few years, King has built an identity that feels almost like the opposite of T.I.'s public persona. T.I. speaks like a polished cultural veteran, choosing complex words and presenting himself as a thoughtful elder in hip-hop. King, on the other hand, leans heavily into a rebellious street image, constantly insisting that he has more real credibility than the man who raised him. To many observers, the contrast has always felt strange. But now 50 Cent's rumor offers the internet a twisted explanation. According to the narrative spreading online, King's defiance isn't just teenage rebellion, it's something deeper. Something biological. Social media detectives have already flooded timelines with side-by-side photo comparisons, zooming in on jawlines, cheekbones, and facial structure, desperately searching for proof that King's DNA might trace back to someone else entirely. And that's where the spotlight suddenly turns to Tiny Harris. For more than 2 decades, Tiny has stood beside T.I. as both partner and protector. Their relationship survived prison sentences, scandals, and years of public scrutiny. But it has also been famously turbulent. The couple filed for divorce more than once before reconciling, creating a cycle of breakups and reunions that played out in front of millions of fans. Now 50 Cent is suggesting that the turbulence wasn't just about arguments. According to the narrative he's teasing online, it was about secrets. He has repeatedly hinted that Tiny maintained connections during the late 90s and early 2000s with influential figures in Atlanta's music and street circles. Powerful men who moved quietly behind the scenes while the southern rap industry was still building its empire. And the claim, still unproven but spreading like wildfire, is that one of those figures may actually be King Harris's biological father. If that were true, it would mean Tiny allegedly spent nearly 2 decades protecting a secret capable of destroying one of hip-hop's most famous marriages. What makes the situation even more unsettling is the silence. Normally, T.I. is quick to respond to controversy. Fans are used to seeing him upload 10-minute explanations on Instagram, calmly addressing every rumor with his signature vocabulary. But as the DNA speculation grows louder, the Harris family has remained unusually quiet. And that silence has people asking uncomfortable questions.
I wanted 50, that's what I said. He don't want no smoke though.
Oh, Lord.
I called my man out, he don't want no smoke, he ducking smoke.
Are they simply refusing to feed the trolls, or are private conversations happening behind closed doors that the public was never meant to hear? Meanwhile, 50 Cent continues to escalate the tension. His posts hint that there may be more evidence waiting in the shadows, old photographs, archived messages, or witnesses who were present during Atlanta's early music scene. By teasing these possibilities without fully revealing them, he's effectively holding a ticking time bomb over the Harris family's reputation. But lost inside all this chaos is one uncomfortable reality: King Harris himself. Imagine being a 19-year-old, still trying to figure out who you are, only to have one of the most powerful trolls on the planet publicly suggest that the man you call father might not actually be related to you. Millions of strangers repeating the same accusation over and over again. For most people, that kind of pressure would be unbearable. But for 50 Cent, this isn't personal. It's strategy. This is how he fights his wars, not with diss tracks, but by destabilizing the very reality his opponent stands on. And the deeper the story goes, the more it begins to revolve around one name: Tamika "Tiny" Harris. Because to understand the weight of these accusations, you have to go back to the late 90s and early 2000s. Back when Tiny was already a superstar with the legendary R&B group Xscape, while T.I. was still climbing through Atlanta's rap scene trying to earn his crown. According to 50 Cent's narrative, that period is where the mystery begins.
Caption read, "Keep my name out your mouth."
Atlanta's music industry back then was raw, chaotic, and filled with overlapping relationships. Artists, executives, street figures, and promoters all moved within the same tight circles. Loyalty was everything, and betrayal was unforgettable. 50 Cent's strategy is brutally simple. By suggesting Tiny may have been involved with other powerful figures during one of T.I.'s most vulnerable periods, when the rapper was battling federal charges and legal chaos, he's forcing people to re-examine the timeline of their relationship. The most explosive detail centers around 1 year. The year King Harris was born. During that time, T.I. and Tiny's relationship was reportedly unstable, constantly appearing in tabloids for its on-again, off-again status. According to the rumors now circulating online, Tiny was allegedly spending time with someone connected to Atlanta's underground scene during the same window when King was conceived. And according to internet detectives, that individual supposedly shares physical features that resemble King more than T.I. No official names have ever been confirmed. But cryptic hints from 50 Cent's posts point toward figures connected to Tiny long before T.I. became a household name. So why bring this up now, nearly 20 years later? Because 50 Cent understands the power of timing. King Harris has recently become a viral figure for all the wrong reasons. His public outbursts, his rejection of T.I.'s grand hustle image, and his constant insistence that he comes from the streets have created the perfect environment for speculation. All 50 Cent had to do was introduce a theory, and the internet did the rest. According to this narrative, King's rebellious energy isn't just youthful frustration. It's something deeper, an instinct tied to a lineage that might not match the family name he carries. The dark past 50 Cent keeps referencing isn't simply about alleged infidelity. It's about a culture of silence. He has hinted that people within Atlanta's music industry have quietly known pieces of this story for years, but never spoke publicly out of respect or fear of T.I.'s influence. But now that someone like 50 Cent has opened the door, the whispers are beginning to leak into daylight. He has suggested that old photographs and private messages from the early 2000s exist, showing Tiny in situations that raise uncomfortable questions. By dangling the possibility of this evidence without fully revealing it, he keeps the Harris family locked in a constant state of pressure. And then there's the ultimate weapon in modern controversy: DNA. In today's world, a simple genetic test can settle arguments that once lasted generations. Which is why some critics have begun asking an obvious question. If T.I. is completely confident, why not take a DNA test publicly and end the rumors instantly? Instead, the family has chosen a different approach, focusing on unity, ignoring the accusations, and refusing to engage. But that silence has only fueled speculation. At one point, 50 Cent even joked online that he would personally pay for the DNA test himself, turning the entire situation into a spectacle for millions to watch. Because he knows the trap he's created. If T.I. refuses, critics will claim he's avoiding the truth. And if he agrees, the results could either silence the rumor forever or ignite a scandal that permanently damages his legacy. Meanwhile, Tiny Harris finds herself at the center of the storm. For decades, she has built an image as a loyal wife and sharp businesswoman who stood beside her husband through prison sentences, cheating scandals, and federal investigations. But 50 Cent's narrative paints a very different picture. A woman playing a long game. A woman allegedly protecting a secret that could shake the foundation of her family. In his most controversial claim yet, 50 Cent has even suggested that Tiny orchestrated the entire deception, convincing T.I. to raise another man's child while safeguarding her own financial security. Whether those claims are real or reckless trolling remains unknown. But the damage is already spreading. Inside the music industry, rappers and influencers are watching carefully, many choosing to stay silent rather than risk getting pulled into a war between two of hip-hop's most powerful personalities. The public, however, has already made its courtroom. Every time King Harris posts a video online, the comment sections explode with brutal messages. 50 Cent was right. Go find your real dad. For a 19-year-old still figuring out his identity, hearing millions of strangers repeat those words might be the cruelest part of this entire story. Yet, at this point, it's becoming painfully clear that 50 Cent may be willing to treat King Harris as collateral damage in his war against T.I. What began as a typical rap rivalry has slowly mutated into something far darker. This isn't about chart positions anymore. It isn't about diss records or industry dominance. The conflict has evolved into something that feels almost tragic. Tiny's past is now being dragged through the mud, T.I.'s role as a father is being publicly questioned, and King's identity is being dissected in front of millions of strangers scrolling through their phones. And the most unsettling part? 50 Cent continues to behave like a man holding the winning card. He keeps suggesting that DNA evidence exists somewhere behind the scenes. He hasn't actually revealed the document, but his confidence alone has been enough to keep the internet on edge. The claim hangs in the air like a cliffhanger no one can resolve. Which leads to the next question. How has the Harris family responded behind the curtain? Because while social media only shows polished images and carefully chosen posts, insiders claim private conversations have been far more intense. Subtle responses from T.I. have appeared online, cryptic captions, short remarks, indirect shots, but none of them have managed to silence the speculation. And speculation, once unleashed, rarely disappears. Right now the atmosphere in Atlanta feels heavier than usual. When someone with the influence of 50 Cent publicly targets your reputation, it doesn't stay contained to social media. The rumors spread through studios, club lounges, and private industry meetings. What started as an online accusation is slowly transforming into something closer to a cultural investigation. People aren't just debating rap beef anymore. They're dissecting the foundation of the grand hustle empire itself. T.I., a man who spent decades crafting the image of a thoughtful, disciplined leader within hip-hop, now finds that image under a microscope. The same fans who once praised his wisdom are now watching closely, waiting to see how he handles the most personal accusation of his career. Inside the Atlanta music scene, reactions have been complicated. Publicly, many artists appear to support T.I., offering quiet messages of loyalty or avoiding the topic altogether. But privately, according to people familiar with the local industry circles, old stories have begun resurfacing. Stories from 2004. That year keeps appearing in conversations. It was a chaotic time for the Harris family. T.I. was battling serious legal issues and fighting to keep his career alive while dealing with the possibility of prison. At the same time, Tiny was navigating the unpredictable world of the music industry largely on her own. And this is exactly the timeline 50 Cent chose to highlight. Some say that's coincidence. Others believe it's calculated. Because by focusing on a period when the family was already under enormous pressure, he's created the perfect environment for doubt. The truth becomes harder to separate from rumor when the timeline already contains gaps and unanswered questions. But beyond the gossip and speculation, one person remains trapped in the center of the storm. King Harris. The 19-year-old has always been a controversial figure online, often criticized for his behavior or mocked for trying to project a street image despite growing up wealthy. But what's happening now is on a completely different level. Being called spoiled is one thing. Being told by millions of strangers that your father might not actually be your father is something else entirely. According to insiders, the tension inside the Harris household has quietly intensified. Publicly, the family continues to show unity, posting photos and messages that suggest everything is fine. But behind closed doors, the emotional pressure is reportedly building. King's recent online behavior has only added more fuel to the conversation. His live streams and posts have grown more erratic, more emotional, almost as if he's trying to prove something to the world. Some observers believe he's attempting to defend his identity as a Harris. Others wonder if the constant noise has already planted seeds of doubt in his mind. Meanwhile, the accusations aimed at Tiny Harris have opened another dangerous door. If 50 Cent truly possesses any form of evidence, whether old photographs, testimony from former associates, or even documents, her reputation could face serious damage. For years, Tiny has been viewed as the loyal partner who stood beside T.I. through his darkest moments. Prison sentences, legal battles, public controversies. She was often portrayed as the anchor holding the family together. But 50 Cent's narrative flips that image completely. Instead of the supportive wife, he paints her as the person guarding a secret powerful enough to shake the entire family structure. According to his insinuations, the story isn't just about relationships. It's about a hidden lifestyle that T.I. may never have fully understood. And by presenting Tiny as the supposed keeper of that secret, 50 Cent has successfully shifted public suspicion toward her. It's a brutal transformation. The woman once praised for loyalty is now being cast as the potential architect of a decades-long deception. What makes the situation even more complicated is T.I.'s response strategy. Throughout his career, he has been known for winning arguments with words. His intelligence and vocabulary often allowed him to dismantle critics in interviews or online debates. But this time, words might not be enough. Because you can debate rumors. You can argue against opinions. But a DNA accusation is different. It demands proof. And that's exactly where the internet has become ruthless. Many observers keep repeating the same question. If the rumor is completely false, why not simply take a public DNA test and end the conversation forever? So far, that hasn't happened. Instead, the family has focused on ignoring the controversy and emphasizing unity. But in the eyes of online critics, that silence has created an uncomfortable vacuum. A vacuum that 50 Cent continues to fill. He knows exactly how psychological warfare works. By refusing to reveal everything at once, he keeps the story alive day after day. Every hour without a clear denial becomes another moment where the rumor grows stronger. In many ways, he has hijacked the entire narrative surrounding the Harris family. Their private lives have become a global spectacle. But before reaching any final conclusions, one uncomfortable truth has to be acknowledged. There is always the possibility that 50 Cent is exaggerating, or even completely inventing parts of this story. After all, this is the same man who once purchased 200 front-row tickets to a Ja Rule concert simply so the cameras would capture empty seats and embarrass his rival on national television. Psychological warfare has always been his specialty, and that raises the final, haunting question surrounding this entire controversy. Is 50 Cent exposing a hidden truth, or simply orchestrating the most ruthless trolling campaign hip-hop has ever witnessed? 50 Cent has always had a reputation for weaponizing pettiness like an art form. Humiliating rivals isn't just something he does, it's something he engineers with almost surgical precision. That's why many people believe this entire DNA narrative could be the most elaborate trolling campaign of his career. A perfectly crafted rumor designed to strike T.I. in the most painful place imaginable, his family. By dragging a son into the battlefield, 50 Cent has shattered one of hip-hop's unwritten rules. Traditionally, rappers may attack careers, money, or credibility, but family is supposed to be off-limits. Yet if there's one thing 50 Cent has proven throughout his career, it's that he doesn't operate by anyone else's rulebook. His only rule has always been victory. And here's the terrifying part. Even if the DNA story is completely fabricated, the damage is already done. In the age of social media, a viral rumor spreads faster than any correction ever could. Once an idea takes root online, it becomes almost impossible to erase. For the rest of his life, every time King Harris posts a video, there will likely be someone in the comments repeating the same question about his father. For T.I., the consequence is just as heavy. Somewhere within his fanbase, doubt has already been planted. Even supporters who want to defend him may quietly wonder whether there's something hidden beneath the surface. And for Tiny Harris, the whispers about a mysterious, dark past now follow her every public move like a shadow she can't outrun. That's the real power of 50 Cent's strategy. He doesn't actually need to prove anyone guilty. He only needs to make sure the world never fully believes they're innocent. Which leaves the Harris family facing an impossible situation. If T.I. ignores the rumor, critics will claim he's avoiding the truth. If he fights back aggressively, he gives 50 Cent exactly what he wants: attention and chaos. It's a digital maze with no obvious exit. Meanwhile, King Harris continues trying to assert himself online, determined to prove he deserves the family name he carries. But with 50 Cent looming over the narrative like both a kingmaker and a kingraker, that crown suddenly looks heavier than ever. What started as gossip has transformed into something deeper, a cautionary tale about fame, family, and the ruthless machinery of internet culture. Whether or not a DNA document ever appears, 50 Cent has already accomplished something powerful. He made the world question the grand hustle legacy itself. And in hip-hop, once the audience begins questioning your truth, your throne becomes dangerously unstable. So now the spotlight shifts to you. Is this nothing more than 50 Cent playing the most ruthless psychological chess game the industry has ever seen? Or could there really be a buried truth inside the Harris family tree that's finally starting to surface? The internet is divided, and the lines have already been drawn. Are you standing with 50 Cent, believing the receipts are real? Or are you riding with the Harris family, defending T.I. and Tiny against what could be the most savage trolling campaign in rap history? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into the scandals, secrets, and power plays shaping the music world, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because this story isn't over yet, and what happens next might shock everyone watching.